Part 2 Episode 203. While fighting a great battle in heavenly tribulation, not only did the two have to deal with the creatures produced by lightning, they also had to fight intensely against each other. This was especially true for the region around the lightning pool. Even though this layer of heaven was rather calm, there were many creatures here. Once they were provoked, it would become even more frightening. Reincarnation Fist. Shahao shouted loudly. His fist shone, and at the same time, time fragments danced about, as if they blasted apart the past, present and future, erupting with his movements. Light surged endlessly, his entire being seemingly igniting. Heaven and earth seemed to be pierced through. The lightning was forced back, fragments of time disappearing. His fist carried divine chains of order, striking towards Ning Chuan. Heaven diagram severing past and present. Ning Chuan shouted. A heaven diagram rose behind him, the supreme being technique he had since birth. That diagram was engraved into his back, within it the sun, moon, and stars, the starry sky and cosmos. This scroll unfolded, as if a great world was descending, surrounding this place. It was as if the two of them were standing in the cosmos, great stars moving one after another in the great space's darkness. Heavenly streams poured down one after another. Shahao went berserk, a fist striking through a star, rushing murderously at Ning Chuan. Break! Ning Chuan shouted. The void exploded, the universe broken apart. Shahao seemed to be separated on the other side of shore. Moreover, at this time, great stars rumbled, stars igniting one after another, illuminating the ice-cold universe. They smashed down on Shahao's direction. Humans had their limit. When one had to resist the cosmos, they just seemed a bit too insignificant. Sinner's blood descendant, just a trifling being like you even dare take on the great universe as your enemy. Ning Chuan's voice was ice-cold. He was like an unmatched divine king that was overlooking the world, suppressing Shahao. Come back and talk big, after you've truly refined a part of the universe. This is nothing more than some shitty scribblings. Shahao said. He opened his heavenly eyes, not being confused by what he saw. His reincarnation fist became more and more resplendent, blasting through the universe, smashing apart stars one after another, slaughtering his way over towards Ning Chuan. Cut apart the clouds in the sky and break through the ninth firmament. Ning Chuan's cold voice sounded. His incantation power and magical imprint combined. That heaven diagram swayed, the stars in the cosmos shining. In that instant, the stellar streams in the heaven diagram formed a stellar sky divine sword, hacking down towards Shahao, hacking open the ninth firmament. At the same time, Shahao's fist broke through the void's restriction, blasting through an expanse of stars, fighting his way over. Blood blossomed, shooting out from Shahao's shoulder. The stellar sky divine sword cut open his shoulder, injuring his flesh. Not good. Someone cried out. Shahao's well-being was connected to the lives and deaths of too many people. Quite a few natives were still depending on him for survival. He, there were some who laughed, partial towards Ning Chuan's side. It was because they discovered that Shahao's fist was still a bit of distance from Ning Chuan in the end, not hitting its target. Huang is still a bit inferior to Ning Chuan. Even though he could cross the most powerful lightning tribulation, so what? It still isn't enough. Someone laughed loudly in an undisguised manner. These included the Silver Blood Devil Tree race and the others. They were all incomparably hopeful. However, Ning Chuan's expression changed. His body swayed, quickly moving backwards. Then, he coughed out a large mouthful of blood, white hair appearing at his temples, aging a bit. That is, stealing time. The fist didn't arrive, but those time fragments still shot out, landing on Ning Chuan. A few people saw through this technique, all of them shocked. This was just the start, yet both of them were injured, especially Ning Chuan who continuously coughed out blood. Huang's battle experience is too abundant. Blood was drawn from his shoulder, but that's nothing more than a superficial wound, the Dao not seeping into his muscles and bones. However, Ning Chuan suffered the power of reincarnation, the injuries deep. That isn't entirely the case. The strike Huang suffered was definitely not that easy to take. That is the stellar sky divine sword produced by the heaven diagram, the injuries definitely reached his bones. There was some discussing, analyzing this battle. Sinner's blood descendant. Ning Chuan's expression changed. The reincarnation fist was extremely sharp. Even though the fist didn't arrive, the time fragments still entered his body, the attack formless. His flesh was growing dim, his temples graying. A few wrinkles also appeared on his forehead. Fortunately, he stopped this type of transformation, not allowing himself to continue aging. However, there was one thing that was a bit frightening. The reincarnation fist was not only related to time, it also possessed astonishing destructive force, causing him to continuously cough blood, his injuries not light. Shahao's bones released pie-pa sounds, sending that sword flying. Blood shot out even higher from his shoulder, clearly injured. However, his entire body shone, quickly healing those bones. Kill. With this roar, Shahao's energy devoured mountains and rivers. The area below his feet shone, golden lotuses appearing all around him, planting themselves in the cosmos. He stepped on the sun, moon, and stars one after another, rushing towards Ningchuan. Behind him, the great stars formed by the heaven diagram were trampled apart one after another, as if a dragon or tiger was going on a rampage. He rushed murderously at Ningchuan, unleashing a great attack. The two of them continuously clashed, fighting a life and death battle. They fought until they went berserk, both of them risking it all. Not good. Ningchuan had just finished crossing tribulation, his body still extremely weak. He might not be able to stop Huang. Huang is too ferocious. Someone's expression changed. No harm, Huang had just crossed tribulation as well, and he hadn't had much time to recover either. Now, he even charged into Ningchuan's heavenly tribulation. Heaven diagram suppress. Ningchuan beckoned over, and then the heavenly stars moved about, all of them flying towards his hand. They then formed a great cosmos stellar diagram, supported in his hand. It was as if he supported a universe, slapping towards Shahao. This type of scene was too terrifying, as if he was a giant splitting heaven and earth apart, raising the universe in one hand, smashing it at a single person. Kuan-peng method of destruction. Shahao turned into a Kuan-peng, rushing into the ninth layer of heaven. He unfolded his golden feathered wings, slapping the heavenly stars apart. The enormous body crushed the cosmos until it fissured. Still not enough, suppress. Ningchuan roared. The entire universe was sent downwards, smashing down onto Shahao's body. Shahao's entire body flew outward, opening his mouth and coughing out blood, suffering serious injuries. This was Ningchuan, his strength powerful, able to injure even Huang. He was fully deserving of his unmatched name as Six-Crown King. Only, before others could even release a cry of joy, the battle situation changed again. The sky was full of golden feathers, and there were black-colored ocean waves that rose. Shahao stabilized his body, and then he displayed the Kuan-peng's greatest profound mysteries. A black-colored great fish rose up from the waters, resonating with the golden peng in the sky. One hand great yin, one hand great yang, Kuan and Peng rose up together, displaying undying power. Kill. Following Shahao's light shout, he moved through the sky, penetrating the cosmos. He continuously took action, the Kuan-peng magical imprints all striking down on Ningchuan. Ningchuan flew outwards, his mouth coughing out blood. Again. Ningchuan's forehead shone, dragon patterns covering it densely. He released a great roar, and then it was as if the void image of a true dragon appeared. He formed a fist imprint, releasing an ultimate attack. Do you think you are 10-crown king, wanting to display dragon fist? Come back after you learned the complete precious technique. Shahao sneered. Ian. Not right. Right at this moment, many people were shocked. That wasn't a dragon. Even Shahao was astonished. Wind raged around this fist, terrifying beyond belief. A white Qilin appeared, roaring with Ningchuan's attack. The wind of a king stirred about, the aura matchless. The dragon patterns on the forehead were actually Qilin patterns. Someone cried out in alarm. Ningchuan had fooled everyone. He never displayed it in the past, only displaying this type of exceptional divine ability now. One had to bear in mind that the Qilin precious technique was one of the vicious 10 exceptional arts. Just what kind of background did he have? This was his innate divine ability, something he had from birth. How could he directly inherit the Qilin technique? Qilin fist, blood energy surging, the wind produced by the fist tearing through the heavens. It was too terrifying. Ningchuan's appearance was normally fine and elegant like jade, cultured and refined, yet right now, he had the aura of a king. His entire body was covered in blood, hair scattering down. His gaze was like cold electricity, as he fought intensely against Shahao. Qilin fist. So what? With a raise of his hand, he operated the willow deity technique. His entire body erupted with golden light. When a fist blasted out, hundreds and thousands of golden divine chains of order struck out with his fist. The two fists collided. A hong sounded, blasting apart the heavens. In the end, the 10th layer's sea of lightning was guided over, making this place completely chaotic. Not good. Everyone became shocked. This sea of lightning was the most terrifying, within it immortal birds, divine beasts and others. Once it erupted, it was difficult to resist. Apart from this, there was the immortal killing stage that was even more immeasurable. Huang, you dare. Ning Chuan berated. It was because while the two were fighting the intense battle, Shahao stole lightning tribulation liquid. Ning Chuan himself was also collecting divine liquid. Due to interference from both sides, both of them only acquired some of it. This made Ning Chuan fight until his eyes went red. It was because this was originally his. It no longer seemed complete even if a single drop was seized by Shahao, a type of humiliation for him. There was a whole pool of precious liquid, yet during this intense battle against Shahao actually seized more than him. Vicious 10 precious technique, Qilin divine ability reappeared. Ning Chuan's killing intent overflowed. A snow-white Qilin roared after he produced a fist imprint, vivid and lifelike, rushing forward murderously. At the same time, there was the divine diagram on his back, waves of flames surged beneath his feet, all types of precious techniques being displayed. To his side, a golden crow cried out, dragons and tigers struggled. Of course, it was still the white Qilin that took the lead. The scene was extremely terrifying. Shahao's fists shone, his left reincarnation fist, right lightning emperor fist. Behind him was a golden willow tree. He rushed forward murderously. Not good. Right at this moment, those who were watching their great battle all cried out in alarm. It was because there was a true dragon that rose and a heavenly phoenix flying about in the 10th layer lightning world, diving down towards them. The two of them were fighting an intense battle, triggering great trouble. The creatures in the sea of lightning were provoked. Even though they were all produced from lightning, it was still as if they were alive, divine abilities immeasurable. The true dragon rushed towards Ning Chuan, heavenly phoenix towards Shahao. The two were fighting a great battle, yet they still had to fend off the creatures in the lightning. It was becoming more and more chaotic. Aside from this, there were other creatures that were rushing forward as well, placing the two in a dangerous situation. Their bodies were covered in blood. This was especially the case when the immortal killing stage shone. Sword energy was released in thousands of streaks, sweeping through the heavens, causing both of their expressions change. They quickly moved out of the way. Both of their bodies were brushed, blood flowing in streams. It was terrifying to the extreme. Right at this moment, the two of them seemed to have roared at the same time. It was because they both rose to their most powerful state, preparing to display their most powerful techniques. 9-5 Supreme Being Heavenly Art. 8 Ninth Heavens Art. The two of them roared loudly, signifying the release of their most powerful extreme arts. These were techniques that supported other precious techniques. Now that they were all activated, it signified that their most powerful precious techniques were all going to appear. The 8 Ninth Heavens Art operated the Kuan Peng technique, Reincarnation technique, Lightning Emperor technique, Heaven Calamity Light, Willow Deity technique. This place surged, precious techniques overlaying, absolutely incomparable in power. Even though this heavenly art had flaws, not perfect, activating it in Shahao's current cultivation realm was enough. The flaws wouldn't affect much. Heaven and earth became chaotic, primal chaos surging. This was the scene the 8 Ninth Heavens Art produced. Meanwhile, on the other side, the 9-5 Supreme Being Heavenly Art appeared, similarly terrifying. It supported many different supreme precious techniques, as if an immortal Tao Supreme Being was descending into this world, sweeping through everything under the heavens. After this attack, heaven and earth became blurry, nothing visible. Only much later did everyone discover that the two of them were both staggering, their bodies in tatters. Shahao was already sitting in front of the lightning pool, seizing lightning tribulation liquid in an absolutely unrestrained manner. Ning Chuan's flesh is inferior to Huang's, suffering a great loss. Someone said with a sigh. Huang has crossed divine king tribulation before. After all, his flesh sturdy to an unimaginable level. He naturally has the upper hand. Everyone stared at this battlefield. There were some who became nervous, some who became excited. Ning Chuan released a great roar, flames burning the 9 heavens. That was his lightning tribulation liquid, yet it was being stolen by Huang right now. However, his injuries were too severe, his combat strength declining greatly. The immortal killing stage swayed, immortal light erupting. The 10th layer lightning tribulation faded, the lightning pool also becoming indistinct. Don't run, I still didn't finish collecting. Shahao shouted, feeling extremely unwilling. Ning Chuan in the distance was so angry, he spat out a mouthful of blood. That was all his, yet Huang actually had this type of attitude. I am going to kill you. Ning Chuan roared furiously, his entire body's spiritual essence surging, erupting. He rushed over murderously again. I want to completely end your life too. Shahao sneered. He put away the lightning tribulation liquid, directly slaughtering his way over towards Ning Chuan. A white Qilin rose up, releasing tens of thousands of streaks of light. It tore apart the heavenly domain and dove down. Ning Chuan's white clothes danced about, his face handsome without the slightest flaw, more beautiful than many girls, supporting this white Qilin. The Qilin released a great roar, charging over murderously. This was a great decisive battle. Great flames of rage burned within him. Shahao stole his lightning tribulation liquid, simply intolerable. What was Six Crown King? He emerged unmatched in 6 eras, known as the greatest in that time. No one at his cultivation realm, or below could match him. Huang also displayed might, starting to fight with his life on the line. Someone sighed in admiration. Shahao rushed forward, supporting a Kuan Peng. It was incomparably massive, spreading its wings and splitting the skies. Golden light rushed out in tens of thousands of streaks, ocean waves flooding outwards. This was a world-shocking great collision that made even heavenly deities tremble. The divine force was incomparable, the natural laws between them endless. The two fought intensely, blood splashing outwards, divine light released in tens of thousands of streaks, bone texts interweaving, blasting apart the void. Kill. The heavenly tribulation ended, so how could the sect masters sit still? There were people who moved, their objective clearly the lightning tribulation liquid. The silver blood devil tree, rainbow giant tiger, and other supreme experts rushed out together, truly wishing to immediately kill Huang, seize the lightning tribulation liquid he obtained. However, how could the 8-armed soul race's #1 expert, Beauty Clan's clan elder and the others just watch from the side? They came precisely to provide Shahao with support, protect him at his side. They rushed out together, rushing murderously at the silver blood devil tree and others. In reality, they all carried grudges to begin with, so this just happened to be an opportunity to unleash a world-shocking confrontation. Sect masters took action, making heaven and earth split apart, cold winds roar, a blood rain pour down. Any random strike was enough to produce many heaven and earth strange changes. In the surroundings, everyone trembled, their legs and stomachs cramping up, unable to stand still. All of their faces were pale white like snow. There were some who couldn't take the pressure, dropping from the sky. In that instant, experts fled in disarray, rushing towards the distance out of fear of being caught up in the blast waves. Everyone hid at the limits of the horizon, watching this exceptional confrontation. Huang, he defied the heavens, actually crossing heavenly tribulation together, seizing a large half of the lightning tribulation liquid, domineering to a ridiculous degree. Is there still heavenly reason? He can just casually cross tribulation, never dying. He succeeded again. Everyone could only sigh with praise. This type of extraordinary practice truly felt ridiculous. One had to understand that that was the most powerful divine king tribulation, something normal people couldn't understand. This was a 9 deaths 1 life heavenly tribulation, yet Huang could repeatedly cross it. It truly made others feel like he is a monster. This fella is so strong. The witch muttered, her beautiful eyes flickering about, as if this was the first time she discovered Shahao. The young man was a promising talent when he was in the lower realm, while today he could be considered to truly be shining, forcefully facing 6 Crown King, shaking up immortal ancient. On the other side, Yu Chen also revealed a look of shock. The legendary Ning Chuan, the unmatched king that was known to be unrivaled in 6 eras, was stopped by the brat she detested. Moreover, from the looks of it, Ning Chuan was even injured, losing most of the divine liquid. This truly left others feeling a bit alarmed. Everyone present released a sigh. Huang's rise was already unstoppable, rushing up in one world, crushing the 9 great heavens. This was an undefeated legend. The two of them fought intensely, not affected by their surroundings. Shahao wasn't worried at all, because his side had more sect masters. Meanwhile, Ning Chuan also forgot about everything else, not showing any more misgivings, erupting with true rage. Those two have trump cards. I feel like both of them can escape under the hands of sect masters, which is why they are fighting a great battle. Chan Gongyang said, coming to this conclusion. Dragon Girl, Cao Yuxing, Xuelin and the others all nodded. These two were extremely powerful individuals, representing a battle at the peak of this era. Shahao's palm slapped forward, carrying endless power, as if it could strike down stars from the sky. Heaven overflowing radiance engulfed the heavens, illuminating the eternal. Ning Chuan used the Qilin fist, fighting a bloody battle against him. Fist met palm, symbols rising and falling like ocean waves, violently surging up and down. Shahao didn't display the 8-9 heavens art, while Ning Chuan didn't use the 9-5 supreme being heavenly art, because these two methods were too astonishing, the consumption tremendous. They needed a long time of preparation to complete, or else casually releasing them wasn't as efficient as just using unmatched precious techniques. Generally speaking, that was a technique that supported precious techniques, and not a true offensive divine ability. Qiong. Reincarnation symbols appeared in Shahao's hand, condensing into a divine sword, the light intimidating. It hacked forward. A massive Qilin staff appeared in Ning Chuan's hands, a derivation of the precious technique. It brandished over, colliding with that divine sword, sparks flying everywhere. This battle represented the highest level of confrontation at this cultivation realm, making everyone's hearts and minds tremble. The reincarnation sword and Qilin staff clashed. This was not only a clash of magical force and Tao, but also a comparison of vitality and will. The two of them fought until they went berserk. Shahao's hair flew about chaotically, a layer of gold appearing around his body as if cast in gold. He erupted with power, his right hand holding a divine sword, left hand a fist as he rushed murderously at Ning Chuan. Meanwhile, the Six-Crown King on the other side had also lost his previous aloof expression, fighting until his eyes were red. Qilin patterns were on his forehead, on his back the heaven diagram, his entire being erupted, using the most powerful fighting strength. Ning Chuan and Huang are going at it, truly fighting a life and death decisive battle. What? Two exceptional heroes are clashing. Go, we cannot miss out on this, we have to go watch. News got out, spreading in all directions. Many small worlds in Immortal Ancient knew about this, and quite a few people hurried over. They knew that this was likely the final battle of Immortal Ancient's end. Perhaps it could even be said that this was the final exciting battle. He is fighting against Six-Crown King, can he win? When Yunxi found out, she was a bit stumped for words. She then rushed towards that place. Huang, is he really going to defy the heavens? No one can stop him, and now, he even went out to challenge Six-Crown King. There were ancient freaks that released a great sigh. One had to understand that in their hearts, Ning Chuan was unmatched. Now, an up-and-coming youngster was actually powerful to this extent. The geniuses of the 3,000 provinces were all moved, hurrying over. They were going to watch this ultimate battle. This was true for Immortal Ancient's natives as well, every single one of them rushing towards that small world. It was because apart from the two great geniuses that were there was also lightning tribulation liquid, making their blood surge. More and more people came, this small world becoming packed with people. Kill. The two geniuses tore at each other, the fight vicious to the extreme. Shahao became more valiant the longer he fought, his fist strength world-shocking. When his fist smashed outwards, even the moon would explode if it was struck. They fought risking everything, they already fought bloodily for over 2,000 moves, both of their consumption great. Both of them had just crossed heavenly tribulation, not having time to recover. It was because there was no time at all. If not for the fact that they both drank a bit of lightning tribulation liquid, the bones in their bodies would all be broken. This was especially true for Shahao. He faced tribulation 2 times just now, currently extremely exhausted. Fortunately, the lightning tribulation liquid's effects were astonishing, allowing him to recover quite a bit. Ning Chuan was furious. This was his lightning tribulation liquid. He felt incomparably aggravated when he saw the other person drink it. Sinner's blood descendant, filthy blood flows through your body. You are just like your ancestors, shameless and without virtue, except death. Ning Chuan roared. You so-called dog fart Six-Crown King, if you want to die, I'll grant your wish. Shahao's eyes released cold electricity. Both of them displayed secret methods, displaying the most powerful attack. Suddenly, Shahao released a grunt, his entire body becoming golden, releasing divine auspicious brilliance, turning into a heavenly dragon, and charging forward. Not good. Ning Chuan's expression changed. The precious technique he released was actually disappearing with the wind, breaking down, quickly disappearing, unable to reach Shahao. Magical immunity. This was a strange method, and right now, it displayed astonishing ability, immediately causing Ning Chuan's heart to churn, his expression changing on the spot. Shahao had this type of ability, but after coming to Immortal Ancient, he never truly used it, because he was waiting for an opportunity, leaving it behind for a guaranteed kill. If he casually displayed it, others would be on guard, difficult to truly display its exceptional effects. Only when he ran into Ning Chuan today, when both of them had already fought bloodily to this extent, did he suddenly display it. Sure enough, all of the precious techniques Ning Chuan displayed temporarily lost effectiveness, as if they lost magical force, having their Dao shaved off. His eyes glared with anger. What is going on? What happened? Everyone cried out in alarm. Ning Chuan's body grew dim, precious techniques all disappearing. Meanwhile, Shahao's radiance flourished, all types of precious techniques appearing. The Kuanpeng fist was truly domineering. When it descended, it carried an expanse of golden feathers, and there was also a boundless black sea surging. It was terrifying to the extreme. This fist's power flooded outwards, blasting Ning Chuan until he flew outwards. He lost the protection of natural laws and precious techniques, taking this attack forcefully with his flesh, relying on his fists and other parts to block this attack. He first spat out a large mouthful of blood, and then the sound of bones fracturing continuously sounded. His body almost exploded, suffering serious damage from this attack. Shahao raised his hand. A golden willow tree appeared behind him, and then along with the display of his secret technique, hundreds of golden divine chains of order flew out. Pu sounds rang out, some of them impaling Ning Chuan's body, causing his entire body to bleed. The scene was too horrifying. Heavens, what is going on? Why did Ning Chuan suddenly lose? Many people cried out in alarm. Ning Chuan's eyes were ice cold, doing everything he could to resist. More than 10 bloody holes appeared on his body. Even though he struggled free, this injured his foundation, the wounds truly severe. Kill. Shahao roared. Like a heavenly horse leaping over the moon, he already arrived, a foot trampling downwards. Lightning erupted endlessly, as he stamped down towards Ning Chuan. This time, he displayed the Lightning Emperor's precious technique. 5-colored thunder hacked down. Ning Chuan's white clothes were burned to ashes, the crown of his head struck with lightning. If not for his arms protecting it, he would have most likely been in danger. Despite this, his powerful flesh was still damaged, scorched black and cracking. His bones were fractured and muscles torn, his condition extremely terrible. Yunxi just happened to rush over. Just like many people, when she saw this scene, she was incomparably shocked. Was Ning Chuan being suppressed and beaten by Huang? Huang, you've angered everyone. Ning Chuan roared. His left arm was shining, becoming sparkling and resplendent. It was accompanied by immortal energy and immortal light. The fluctuations it released went from weak to powerful, becoming terrifying to the extreme. Everyone became shocked, including sect masters and others. The magical immunity was actually broken. Shahao's mind was shaken. What was that? True immortal hand bone. Someone cried out in alarm. Everyone could clearly sense that immortal Dao aura. That hand of his was special, immediately becoming transparent. The bones inside swelled with immortal light, the power world shaking. It was precisely because of this that the hand bone revived, forcefully breaking Shahao's magical immunity state. Ning Chuan pressed his palm forward. His body was trembling, the entire arm contorting, moreover releasing a catcher sound. It unexpectedly broke. Using this hand bone placed an unimaginable burden on him. It was because he was forcefully using immortal Dao power. This wasn't an ordinary true immortal bone, within it was condensed the most primitive, most powerful imprint. Otherwise, how could it display this type of power? Everyone shivered inwardly. Heaven and earth shattered, not much able to stop it. Even sect masters' expressions changed. This place became nothingness, returning to primal chaos. Shahao moved away. His speed was too fast. He sensed the aura of danger, a single warp bringing him to the edge of the horizon. Ning Chuan, hand over your life. Then, he circled his way back, attacking Ning Chuan murderously. It was because he already saw that this hand bone was too tyrannical, even Ning Chuan, who was powerful to this extent, finding it difficult to operate. At this moment, Ning Chuan's face was snow white, his entire body's spiritual essence almost sucked dry. That arm's bones were broken at several places. He released a sigh. After crossing tribulation today, he still hadn't solidified his cultivation. He was careless during this intense battle, putting him at a disadvantage, one mistake after another. He had to leave. Otherwise, he might be killed by Huang. He supported the true immortal hand bone again. It blasted through heaven and earth, tearing through the void. It was useless even if sect masters sealed down the void. One could imagine just how unordinary this hand bone was. The only flaw was that its consumption of divine force and Tao was too great, and the burden it placed on the body was too much. For the sake of activating that hand bone, his own arm was even broken. You won't be able to leave. Shahao followed, chasing after him to hunt him down. That day, Immortal Ancient was shaken up. Huang chased after Six Crown King, leaving all sides greatly shocked. All eyes were focused on this matter. He finally reached that step, able to sweep through Immortal Ancient. Some of the geniuses of the 3,000 provinces released a sigh of admiration. Even Ning Chuan was defeated, running like this, so who could match Huang? Who could stop his footsteps? Ning Chuan continued running, finding it hard to calm down. He was filled with rage. This was the first time he had to run away from a cultivator at the same level as him, an utter humiliation. Six Crown King lost. He was injured by Huang like this, forced to run. I can't believe it. White-clothed Ning Chuan, undefeated legend, he lost today, suffering a defeat. It truly is regretful. Many people were discussing behind them. This place had already erupted into chaos. This battle shocked all sides, all geniuses from the 3,000 provinces shaken up. Huge waves were stirred up. What kind of figure was Ning Chuan? He overlooked all experts from past to present, those of the same level unable to defy him. He dominated 6 worlds. Who at his level could compete against him? Today, he was defeated. It was as if inscribed steely collapsed, making others release long sighs, at the same time feeling a bit of disappointment. The white-clothed legend was going to end here. Quite a few people who felt respect towards Six Crown King now felt extremely uncomfortable. However, what they saw was reality. Those two left, one chasing the other, disappearing from everyone's view. Previously, Ning Chuan coughed out blood, receiving serious injuries. Anyone with eyes could see this. Chase. The sect masters all moved out, chasing after them. Lightning Tribulation Liquid was where all of their hopes rested on, so they couldn't allow it to be lost. The 8-armed Soul Race's ancient ancestor, Beauty Race's clan elder and the others were comparatively better off, already having their curses neutralized, now just showing consideration for their clansmen. However, the other side's Silver Blood Devil Tree, Rainbow Giant Tiger and others' eyes were already red, chasing after the two. Unfortunately, their numbers were smaller, not a match for the 8-armed Soul Race's ancient ancestor and others. Eventually, a sect master on Ning Chuan's side was killed. It was because Shahao's side had the numbers advantage. With all of them taking action together, who could stop them? Ning Chuan, where are you going? Inside a certain small world, Shahao and Ning Chuan rushed out from the void, exchanging attacks in this world. Ning Chuan wanted to use the immortal bone and slap Shahao to death, but the consumption was too great. Moreover, that ferocious attack might not necessarily hit his opponent. As a result, after thinking it over, he could only run. Only, how could Shahao give him this chance? He tangled about, killing intent surging, chasing him relentlessly. Shahao raised his hand, his palm shining. An expanse of lightning rushed out, striking forward. Ning Chuan's body trembled. No matter how fast he wasn't faster than lightning. His entire body trembled greatly, body charred black. He was angered to the extreme. You can't run. Shahao shouted. Ning Chuan became more and more angered. For all of his life as a cultivator, the word run was rarely associated with him, but today, this was reality. He could only run to treat his injuries. Several dozen willow branches rushed out, golden light shining resplendently. It was as if several dozen golden divine chains pierced through the void, penetrating Ning Chuan's back with pu-pu sounds. He staggered, releasing a loud cry. There were a few bloody holes that ran through his body, but he didn't turn around, still running. Ning Chuan, don't you feel like this is a type of humiliation? Do you dare fight a decisive battle against me or not? Shahao roared. Suddenly, when Shahao got closer, Ning Chuan turned around, releasing an attack again. His hand became sparkling and translucent, releasing brilliant radiance, the bones in his flesh clearly visible. Immortal light flew out, the aura terrifying. That palm slapped towards Shahao. This time, Shahao still dodged, but he also took action, producing the 10,000 spirit diagram to resist the fluctuations. It was stopped. Shahao was shocked and happy. Shahao left behind an afterimage in his original spot. With the 10,000 spirit diagram in hand, he cut through the multicolored light surging over, rushing forward fiercely. He produced a fist imprint, smashing it forward. Blood sprayed out from Ning Chuan's mouth. His body trembled, because the imprint seemed like one sent from an ascended immortal, appearing extremely quickly, smashing into his chest. This left him shocked. Huang actually went against the power the immortal Dao hand bone released as he rushed over. This was a bit outrageous. It was precisely because of this that he received serious damage again. Ning Chuan's chest was blasted through by the fist imprint. Blood poured out like a fountain, surging without end, forming a dark red expanse. It was extremely terrifying. Moreover, several of his chest bones were broken, a large bloody hole appearing in his chest, one that was connected straight from front to back. 6 Dao Supreme Being Bracelet. Ning Chuan said softly, producing a bracelet. They were all sparkling. This was his supreme treasure. He appeared 6 times, the precious bones of the most powerful enemies he killed each time left behind. Only after saving them for 6 eras, did he obtain 6 most powerful Supreme Being True Bones. After refining it for many years, this Supreme Being bracelet became unimaginably powerful. It was because they weren't dead, still possessing life force, coexisting with Ning Chuan's flesh, growing all this time. One could imagine what kind of terrifying might would be produced if 6 types of Supreme Being precious techniques were activated at the same time. The expression on Shahao's face changed, moving out of the way. Heaven and earth itself seemed to have been blasted through. Shahao sucked in a cold breath of air. He previously obtained a secondary bracelet. It now seemed too far away from the main bracelet. The 2 items power not things that could even be mentioned in the same breath. You are researching the 6 Dao reincarnation's heavenly art, using this bracelet to study it. Shahao's expression moved. He was shaken up until his blood and qi surged. Those 6 precious techniques almost hit him. Ning Chuan didn't say anything, his eyes ice cold. After releasing this attack, he began to flee for his life again. Shahao unleashed his single heavenly passage. Immediately afterwards, his reincarnation technique, Heaven Calamity Light, Lightning Emperor Secret Technique, Willow Deity Precious Technique, and others all appeared, carved into the single heavenly passage. The radiance produced dazzling. He chased after Ning Chuan again. When the 2 exchanged attacks, Shahao's single heavenly passage shone brilliantly. It was as if a great golden bell was rumbling, many bone texts appearing on this bell wall, for example, the Kuan Peng, Lightning Emperor, Reincarnation, and others. These were the embodiments of his precious techniques. When the 6 Dao Supreme Being bracelet smashed into Shahao's heavenly passage, it was as if thunder crashed down, rumbling without end. Ning Chuan coughed out blood, once again fleeing towards the distance. It was because he was injured, his injuries much worse than Shahao's. If he continued fighting like this, he would become more and more on the defensive and eventually be killed. In the end, Ning Chuan used the immortal Dao hand bone again. He didn't slap it towards Shahao, instead aiming it at the crack that appeared in Immortal Ancient. A huge explosion resulted. The heavens was about to explode, that great crack releasing divine law radiance. It was terrifying to the extreme. The great crack was opening up, becoming larger and larger. This heaven and earth were about to be torn open. Not good, the sect masters of the outside world are going to enter. Soon after, someone cried out loudly. That immortal Dao hand bone sped up the widening of this crack. Not good, there are weapons of sect masters that directly flew inside. They really are going to slaughter their way into Immortal Ancient. The news that could be heard along the way were extremely bad for Shahao. Suddenly, a great quaking erupted. That great crack exploded, shaking up Immortal Ancient. Right at that place, someone was attacking it from the outside. However, that crack quickly closed again, forcefully closed by natural laws. Only, Shahao clearly saw a few figures just now. A few sect masters were right outside. Ning Chuan took action, this time, incomparably berserk, not sparing any cost, allowing his own muscles and bones to tear and snap. He still activated the immortal Dao hand bone, while those outside were also attacking. This time, when the crack appeared, Ning Chuan rushed out without any hesitation. Shahao cried out loudly. This was bad. This place wasn't far from the opening earlier. It was extremely fragile. Today, Ning Chuan successfully broke out. Shahao turned around to leave, searching for the sect masters in Immortal Ancient. Time was too pressing. He knew that Immortal Ancient was going to split apart, the sect masters outside about to rush in. Finally, he found the 8-armed Soul Race's ancient ancestor and others. They quickly returned to Soul Island. Shahao didn't beat around the bush, quickly producing the lightning tribulation liquid. He took a bit himself, and then he began to distribute it. This time, 4 sect masters he didn't recognize were invited over. They accepted Shahao's lightning tribulation liquid excitedly, immediately drinking it, and then sat down to neutralize the curse. Together with the 5 sect masters that had freed themselves previously, they now had 9 sect masters on their side. This was a great gathering of power. With so many sect masters together, Shahao immediately felt some more confidence. With these sect masters, he should be able to make his way out. As long as he could make it through the openings trial, he wouldn't have to fear anything else. Suddenly, a tremendous sound rang out. It was as if the sky and earth were flipped upside down, rubble flying into the air. That noise was too loud, all of Immortal Ancient remains shaken up, then rumbling violently. At this moment, great Tao natural laws all appeared, expanses of bone texts interweaving. That great void crack finally exploded. Immortal Ancient was linked up with the outside world. Those outside are entering. A great shout sounded, shaking up everyone. In reality, this was the case for every place. The natives were all terrified. Their calm lifestyle was shattered, now intersecting with the 3,000 provinces. Heaven and earth trembled violently, the void splitting apart. There were experts that charged in. Immortal Ancient could not stop the footsteps of the sect masters of the outside world at all. Seniors, please lend me a helping hand in leaving Immortal Ancient. Shahao said. Suddenly Shahao became shocked. He was swept through by a streak of light, immediately disappearing from the 9 great sect masters' faces. Little friend. Little brother. The 9 of them were shocked. Did someone take action? Something was wrong. They were completely stunned, because this type of radiance was everywhere in Immortal Ancient. They all rushed up, bringing the geniuses of the 3,000 provinces away from this place. 3,000 great Tao flower petals sent all of the surviving geniuses out. They are leaving to where they came from. Soon after, they realized that Immortal Ancient's training had concluded. Those 3,000 great Tao flower petals shone, sending all of the cultivators they brought in back out. Huang, where is he? Quickly come out and accept death. The people outside entered Immortal Ancient, with someone immediately starting to look for Huang, wishing to kill him. Soon after, the sect masters that came and the heavenly deities all noticed this scene. Streak after streak of light swept over, wrapping around the cultivators of the 3,000 provinces and disappearing. There were some that rushed into Immortal Ancient's depths in search of natural luck and opportunities. There were some others that immediately withdrew, rushing towards the 3,000 great Tao flower petals. Their reactions were too fast. As sect masters, their strength were incredibly terrifying. As soon as Shahao and the others rushed out from the doors formed from the immortal Tao flower petals, intense fluctuations immediately sounded all around them. A group of sect masters and others descended. These people were too frightening, able to travel unhindered under the sky. They could cross endless distance in an instant, not being slower than the geniuses who came out from the immortal Tao flower petals. In that instant, someone locked down heaven and earth, imprisoning the void, stopping everyone from leaving. It was because the sect masters of the outside world knew that some people obtained great natural luck and were mixed in the crowd. Of course, the main objective of those who rushed here was still to capture Huang. He had on him the immortal seed, the immortal scripture, defying dragon scale, and other things. They couldn't let him go. Apart from this, a few great sects hated him bitterly, coming here just to kill him. Huang, you can't escape. I want to see who will save you. Someone said coldly from far above, sect master pressure released, shaking up all sides. This video will end here.